Hello, my name is Eric Putkonen. Thank you for joining me. Today I'm talking about releasing trauma from the body. And how do you know when it's done? Now, I will say that doing this kind of work, releasing trauma from the body, shadow work, basically you're dealing with the repressed and stuck things in the body. And in doing this, you are, at least indirectly, diminishing the me. For the idea of me and its reactions, of course, somewhat are derived from everything, including this stuck, stuff in the body, emotional trauma, emotional baggage. And so, as we're releasing it, there's less of a me, that's traumatized. There's less of a me fighting or trying to deny or escape this past experience. And so that's how it diminishes the me. So I do think there's value in that. Now, there is trauma, there is emotional baggage, because the happening, the experience, is being avoided. It is not fully experienced. It's being avoided and denied in some way. And anything that is denied and avoided so persists. It doesn't really go away. And so it becomes sticky. And so if something happens and we really don't want to deal with it, and so we're trying to avoid the situation, it becomes something that's stuck within the body, mind, and the emotions. Now, I will briefly fast forward and jump to how do we know it is done. I've been asked this by some people that are doing some kind of work on the stuff that's stuck within. And they're like, well, how do you know when it's really done? How do you know when you've delved deep enough and got rid of the whatever, not got rid of, but fully experienced whatever was stuck? And you know it is done when the memory of it, or even if you have a physical representation of it, a photo, a person that you would meet again, whenever you encounter it again, physically or in memory, is there still a negative reaction? I was talking to somebody once, and they were pretty sure that they had let go of everything. They're like, well, I know I let go of it, and I think I've done it. I'm like, okay, let's say this person that you had a problem with walks into the room. What is the gut reaction? What is the visceral reaction that happens? And they had to admit they're still kind of up. There's a just I don't want to deal with them. I don't want them to be here. That kind of reaction shows there is still something there. It's still stuck. There's more stuff to be seen in the body. And so you're done when the memory of it, the re-encountering of the location or the person or whatever, the photo of it, whatever, it does not bring a visceral rejection or denial or avoidance or any kind of negativity. Basically, the event becomes neutral. It becomes neutralized. It kind of returns to zero. It is neutralized. And it's not that you forgot the event happened. It's just no longer as significant as it once was. everything's been processed, it's been accepted and embraced and cherished as I'm pulling these words out of Stranger in a Strange Land, when they're talking about grokking something. And, you know, even in the book, even the most horrible of events, Michael, the main character, who came from Mars, would talk about it was cherished, regardless of what it was. And that is how you kind of know it's done, and you don't have to delve any deeper. If something happens and something's triggered within, that's what I mean. Something is triggered that shows that there's still something stuck. Then you just got to delve deeper, and that's what I'm going to talk about next, is the what to do. And it's more of a general pointer, I would say. There's not specific steps, because it really depends on each person, because it is impossible to know what concepts, beliefs, things you don't know, ignorance, lie within you that is the basis of the stuckness. And so, you can't generically say do this or that, because that aspect may not apply to you. And so this is a bit more free form. It is more of a delving in and looking at it. Now, I'll take a brief step back. The first thing I do is I'll remember, if you happen to have a physical token of it, a photo, an item, whatever, if you've got something that helps the trigger go off, all the better. But basically, the emotional baggage, the trauma within, you want to trigger it, and you want to feel what is going on, the emotional, the physical reactions, everything. You want to be aware, observe what's going on. It's not like you're trying to observe in a third party kind of way. You're not trying to get aloof or separate from it. That's what I'm not talking about that. You want to delve into it. You are one with it. You want to drink it in, this feeling, this experience, but you want to be fully aware of it, because it's not just an emotion. There's a physical feeling. There's physical reactions going on. There could even be tics, kind of like how somebody might have they call it almost like a nervous tic when somebody enters the room, kind of thing. All number of reactions could be happening, but you want to be fully aware of what's going on, but fully embracing it and delving into it. You want to fully feel this emotion that's coming up, because it's stuck, because it's not fully seen. It's never been fully experienced. And so when I talk about releasing trauma from the body, the main method I talk about is, well, you got to delve into it. The only way out is through. You can't avoid it. You can't think your way around it. You can't, bypass it in some way and become healed. It doesn't work that way. The only way out is through. And so you have to go through it by embracing it and fully experiencing it and drinking it in, the full experience of it, and all the aspects that you've been trying not to feel. And then sometimes partially that's enough. You just need to fully commit to experiencing this. And sometimes once it's experienced, it's truly felt and no longer avoided, there's a chance it may fall away then and there. It's only been hanging on because it's been avoided. But if you delve into it, and it is just kind of, I'm not sure if seething is the right word, but it's just sitting there, not really going away, just it's there. then you might want to delve into what are the roots of this? What is the cause? What is the trigger? And then even go back further. Was there a time you felt something like this prior in your past? Because many emotions, I think it was in the book Letting Go by Hawkins. He had a book where he said a lot of emotions. He mentioned anger and things like that. He goes, are triggered, and it's like you release the pressure, but the inner rage is never really dealt with. It's avoided. And so when you express it, when you're expressing it, for example, you're just letting off the steam. And then when enough sufficient steam has been released, it recedes, but the rest of it is sitting there raging within, waiting, building up steam again. And so what I'm suggesting is, reach for that core. Because what that baggage or trauma might actually stem from something even earlier yet. Something earlier yet might have been the beginnings of it. Because it's a similar feeling. It's just, it's been expanded upon by another event. And so that's one way of doing it. But the other way is to delve into that specific trauma and fully experience it and look at it. But also kind of play devil's advocate and trying to understand it. It's like, on what basis am I holding on to this? Why am I holding on to this? And some people might be holding on to it because they feel they are owed an apology, for example. I know some people will hold on to things because they want the other person to be sorry and say they were wrong. And so they're waiting for this apology. And so you got to question this. It's like, do I really need to hold on to this and keep rehashing this and causing myself harm, waiting for an apology that may never happen? Because we don't control what the other characters around us are doing. And so if that person doesn't believe they did anything wrong, they will never ask for forgiveness. And so they might have done something to you and they've never thought about it since. And now, years later, you're still holding on to it. And, ripping open the old wounds and keeping them fresh. You're never letting them heal. You're just, keeping it until they ask for forgiveness and say they're wrong. And that's silly. But if you delve into this deeply enough until you see for yourself, viscerally, the futility and the total idiocy of expecting some outside event to happen before you let this go, then you might just let it go on your own. It's like, okay, it's futile, it's dumb, it's idiotic. I don't have to wait for some external event to happen to be okay to let go. I'm just going to quit doing this to myself. Because what you're doing with holding on to these traumas and emotional baggage is you're just causing yourself extended pain and, well, more specifically, suffering. Hurt would be a better word instead of pain, but you're just hurting yourself, causing suffering. And why do that to yourself? It's like, having been stabbed at some point and then periodically stabbing yourself in the wound, waiting for the apology. Why do you keep doing that? Well, I'm going to keep doing it until he apologizes, and then I can let it heal. That's dumb. You got to quit You got to quit keeping this fresh. You got to quit holding on to this. You got to quit avoiding it. Much of the trauma is a combination of either avoiding or holding on to it, or it's actually both. It's holding on to it and avoiding it. So you're holding on to it unconsciously and avoiding it consciously. It's kind of a weird thing. But, you know, if you're waiting for an external apology or some event to happen before you let it go, that's ridiculous. It all comes down to you. If you really want to be free of this trauma, this past, this emotional baggage, only you yourself can do it. It cannot be conditional on what happens around you. It can't be conditional if somebody asks for forgiveness, or if some event happens, or if you know, it can't be outside you. It all is within. It all starts with you. And so you have to take ownership. I'm the one that is regurgitating this and keeping this alive and just making myself hurt and suffer. I'm doing this. Yeah, someone might have hurt you, or some event might have hurt you in the past, but that's long gone. That's long gone. It's you that is keeping it alive and, you know, inflicting it on yourself over and over and over again. And so what you got to do is, when you delve into it and you really see it, you also got to look at the triggers and, why am I holding on to this? What do I really think needs to happen to let this go? And so you've now hit both points. You've basically fully delved into, embraced, cherished the feeling. You're no longer avoiding it. That's the key. You're no longer resisting and avoiding it. You're drinking deep of it. And the second thing is, you look at how you're holding on to it and you cease holding on to it. And so you look at why you're holding on to it and what you're expecting to let go. And you basically work out that you don't need to hold on to it anymore. I mean, we hold on to things because we think we're going to gain something a lot of times by it. We think that if we never forget and we keep it alive, then it may be used in some way. But just let it go. It is letting what had happened in the past go. It no longer needs to affect the present. The event is long gone. And so, those are the two main aspects to delving into and releasing or letting go. It's not so much releasing. Releasing makes it sound like you're, well, yeah, I guess releasing. You're letting go. But if you got any questions, comments, please post below. But until next time, thank you much.